Is food really the problem, or have we been blaming the wrong thing? Because I had a conversation where someone said, it's not food, it's your environment, the air you breathe and where you live. And honestly, they are not wrong. Air pollution matters, stress matters, lifestyle matters. But here is the real question. If everything affects your health, what affects it the most consistently? Because you don't control the air every minute, but you do control what you eat every single day. And not just that, what happens when you don't eat at all? Hi guys, welcome to another podcast. And today I and my wife will be discussing a topic, and we're discussing this because we want to give a perspective to it. Usually we make posts around food, healthy eating, and I know I was supposed to have this discussion on another podcast, but I wanted us to have this so people can see where our mind is before we take it up on other platforms, so we are not misunderstood as against the things we believe in. So before we start, how has it been? Let's just
It's been good, and funny enough, I also spoke about something similar on my channel, Beam Me Up Close. So, and I talked about my health journey, and usually anytime I meet people, I try to share with them, especially like talking about like child birth and everything. Talk about like my journey with fighting PCOS and how diet actually played a huge part. So I don't know anybody can tell me that diet doesn't play a key part, because I've seen how it affected me directly. So yeah, I'm just here to contribute my own little quota.
And that's the sponsor for today's show. It's her channel. She's sponsoring the show, and so if you've not subscribed, please go to her channel and subscribe. Beam Me Up Close. She speaks about her life, different things, and who knows, she does giveaways too. She's quite rich. Who knows, you could just be a lucky winner. But if you've not done that, I think it's a good time. And also, please subscribe to our channel too if you're seeing this. It's one of the best ways how we can get the information to many more people, and also give a comment. Let's interact. It would be nice for us to talk. So let's get back to our topic, the concept of food. I want us to start this way. Do you think, because many times it looks like people have would I say a gagged view, where it's something they love and we love it too. And the question is, how wholesome can it be? Is it just food? Or is the environment, what to put on our body? How would you respond to that?
So I would say that yes, it's a holistic view. Like usually when we talk about like health, we are not just talking about food. We are talking about like holistically, like your overall health. So usually when people say, "Oh, this person is healthy, that person is healthy," you can say you like usually when I hear people talking about, "Oh, this person was healthy," you just say, you hear that maybe the person was going to the gym, but their diet is trash, or the person is slim, or it's not fat, and then you feel like, oh, the person is healthy because of their stature, and then ignore the fact that the person is making like bad dietary decisions and other lifestyle decisions. Maybe the person is an avid smoker, and just because he or she is not looking a certain way, you feel like, oh, that is fine, because the person says that I'm healthy or looks healthy to you. So I would say it's more like we should have like a holistic view to conversations concerning health, so which includes diet. And I would say diet plays a very key role, just like you said, it's something that is still within our control for the most part. And other things like the environment, like you said earlier in the introduction, that we may not be able to control our environment. Like we can control some of it, but more, like I would say 90% of our decisions rest on the whole diet thing, because that is within our control. It's something that we can actively change or not change. And there are other things that come into play also, like what clothes you wear, things you put on your body, like your environment, like even stress and things like that. Yeah, like your whole lifestyle. If you are somebody that's given to chaos, it will reflect in your life. So that those kinds of things. But throwing away diet and say that it's not part of the conversation, I think that is very deceptive.
So to start the discussion, for me, when I started, you started before I did, though for me, I always want to be convinced about whatever I want to go into. And so we looked at different things, how to live healthy. I think for me, it was more of like bringing back memories, because I lost my dad from a health challenge. And seriously, many of the things we now began to find out, or that we discovered, it was already part of the conversation. You had, many things at some point, like even the things like fruits. That's why, when people speak, many times I chuckle, maybe because they've not had that experience, so it's easy for them to make assertions. So, but no, at some point my dad did an only fruits diet, and his skins were looking nice, but the result from the hospital was terrible. And so whenever I get the results, it's always like, I'm doing everything right, but this is not showing in, my life and everything. So that's one of the things that even got me thinking that, okay, I think, yes, you have what the mainstream is saying and many other media, and we'll get to that. That's our next question. But how do you critique it? And many times people are attached to these people cannot be all wrong. They cannot all make a mistake in their judgment about what we should eat and things like that. So, but to just get back to the question, food and environment, I think both of them will play a big role. But one of the things I do, I'm not perfect. We are not even perfect. In short, there are many things we know that we should be doing that we are not doing now, because we feel, okay, it's a good trade-off. I could just take this as a treat. My treat is not conventional treats, but I could just take this as a treat. My body should be able to fight that at this stage in my life. And as I grow older, I know I need to delete some things off. But when it comes to environments, you can't control it. So the things I can control, I should be able to say, okay, I mean, it's not that hard in that sense. But let's come back. Let's start with the first topic, that who do we believe? Because there's this question on, I studied this for years, and they use that argument a lot for me. When people say, "Are you a doctor? What do you even like? Why are you doing this?" I was trying to tell someone that, "Oh, you're already doing this. That means you are eating this diet, but it's not working for you." So I told the person that, kindly, try something. The person was like, "No, I don't feel you understand me, because you are not in the medical field." And so that's where I hold my restraint. Usually I just held back and said, okay, that's fine. But I think I follow some guys. So how do we measure that yardstick of, you're not in this field? Why are you giving this
advice? Yeah, so before I answer your question, I'm going to point out one example that usually people always attack, and that's Dr. Berg. So Dr. Berg is someone that actually helped me and has helped us too with when it comes to, like, Eric Berg, yes.
Eric Berg.
Yes. So, and usually what the people, the first thing that people throw at him, that he is not a doctor, because he is a trained chiropractor, so he's not like a licensed medical doctor. And then people always say that, oh, why is he giving medical advice? And he always puts it there like he's not giving medical advice, he's just like sharing. But my issue is that what he's saying, is he wrong?
But sorry, before we go, using Dr. Berg is even fine. I have the other one, Egberg. I think that one is a doctor of practice. Then there's this other guy, he's from India. I've forgotten his name. Something. I think one of the people that made me know them is the Diary of a CEO. He brings a lot of them. And this guy is actually a doctor. So usually when people throw that in, I now tell, oh yeah, go and watch. This one is a doctor, and he's a practicing US doctor. And he believes in many of these things. So please go on.
Yeah, so yes. So I'm just pointing out, just to give credence to what you said about people not wanting to trust whatever you have to say because of your credentials. They feel like you're not qualified enough to speak on some certain subject. I understand the sentiment, but when some things are clearly working for someone and the person is trying to share, okay, this is what worked for me, maybe you should try it. And also the things that you have been doing are obviously bad. Yeah, they are clearly not working, and is detrimental to your health. I don't think you don't need a soothsayer, you don't need a medical doctor to tell you that, for example, like excessive drinking is bad. Like, it doesn't have to come out of the mouth of a doctor for you to say this thing is is wrong, or maybe taking poison is bad. Like, you don't have to, you don't need somebody, you don't need a soothsayer, you don't need like somebody that is highly qualified to tell you that. So some things are like, I would say, are like basic truths. And if you don't accept it, if you are just looking at the credentials of the person, I think you are missing out on the message they're trying to pass across. So while I agree to some extent that the messenger can play a part, but sometimes listen to the message first and don't be too quick to attack, like when, because it doesn't suit your own narrative, or because you feel like the person is attacking your normal.
Yeah, and for us, I think it takes, for me to build an opinion on a subject, I give myself at least a year before I even come out to post about it or speak about it. I give myself at least a year. I listen to both sides. The same way to like picking the type of diet I want to follow long term. Not that I'm completely following it. I started a challenge early this year on this channel, and I stopped, but I'll get back to it. Hopefully, a lot of things made me stop it. But before I, if you, just an example, if you compare what vegetarians and carnivorians, if you compare their lifestyle, I try to watch a lot of content. I'm a YouTube boy. A lot of content, especially from doctors in that line. You see that one thing the vegetarians I notice is that they always have a lot of supplements. Like, it's like they are losing so much, they have to supplement for it. And then they are telling me that animals are not good. Then you come to those who are taking animals. With time, they have majorly about 3 supplements. And one, they can even do without it. The first one is vitamin D. They usually, you can go to the sun and get it. Another one is, people say vitamin C, but many of them don't even take vitamin C. I think they take collagen, and just for...
The collagen, like, if you are like heavily carnivore, you don't need collagen because you already get that from like meats and eggs. Creatine?
Maybe, yeah, exactly. I think they just take something like that to help them look better or something, or toned, and then they do exercise. So when I compared both sides, I mean, I don't know. In your view, have you tried to compare those who are full vegetarians and those who go? I'm not talking about I'm going both extremes. I know keto will be in the middle, trying to at least balance both of them. But those who go full vegetarian and those who go full keto, full carnivore, have you seen any difference?
Okay, yes. So I would not say I've gone that deep into like my whole research about like carnivore. I've watched some videos, but I've not really gone into.
I'm more of keto.
Yeah, I'm very keto because, yeah, I think I'll explain why I'm like highly keto based, even though I've not really been that much.
We've fallen off recently.
Yes, so but I would say for vegetarians that have seen, especially like those that are straight raw, like they call it like raw.
Yep.
Raw diets. They don't eat anything that is cooked, so like raw vegetables, raw fruits. Like once you quote unquote kill it, they feel like the life is dead.
They want to eat something alive.
Yeah, so they want to eat something alive, so that's where they get it, like in fruits and vegetables and things like that. But the ones that I've watched, I don't see them deficient in anything. Like I've not gone through their whole life to see like, are they taking supplements, are they not taking supplements? So they feel like they are living the best life that they can live. But most of them, they grow their own food by themselves, so it's not like the argument where you feel like, oh, they have spraying glyphosate or something, so they don't have that problem because they are growing their food, so they don't really have all those things that are like drawing nutrients from their bodies or something like that. So I would say that for them. And usually like for those I've seen, yeah.
Because many of those I've seen, they always have that need for protein. So they try to, get it from either, because
get like vegan proteins and everything and tofu. But yeah, I agree that they can't have the full like 100% whole protein and everything. So they will need
more carbs in that sense. Yes. Carbs is they have that available for them. So let's stay with just the carbs, the minerals and mineral vitamins and protein. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they don't have access to as much protein. They do have protein because like beans has protein. What else? Like cheese and milk. they have protein, but like one can argue that it's not the full protein, and then you need like animal
in quantity, yeah.
in quantity. Yeah,
The number of grams of protein you get from one steak, if you compare that to what you need from a bowl of vegetable, you need almost like 3 bowls of vegetable in that sense. So, but
they actually eat a lot, because like vegetables, for example, is low carb, so you are not eating.
Yeah.
So even though it looks like a lot, because like I think I was seeing, who was I saying, one of them that had like a whole bowl of, I said I cannot eat it. Yeah. Unfortunately,
that's a lot.
It's I feel like it's a lot, and I was telling somebody like that I'm not a goat that will be eating like these kinds of leaves. But at a point I was trying, but I'm like, maybe this is not for me. So I will not knock them, because there's some truth to what they are saying. Although
as you're saying, there's this argument that in that bowl, that again, I know it's a bit it's shaky, but they say that the antibodies, like plants cannot fight back at us. Yeah. That's what carnivores. So they have a lot of antibodies, and eating that large amount, you're consuming much of the antibodies from the plants, which eventually will become a problem. What do you have to say?
Yeah, I understand that view as well. So, but I think they will argue the fact that like animals. Also, that the animals they were really rely on, like the carnivores rely on, also feed on these things. So if it's that bad, then the animals should also have some those health challenges that they are claiming they have. You get?
Okay. That's but the argument for that, which I've heard too, is that the animals that we feed on, that we call our primary source of protein, the carnivores. I'm saying we because I tilt more carnivore, so just my bias. They have they have their stomach structure can absorb it. Many times they have that layer of stomach, for compartment. So that's that argument for that. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, so that's why I said that like there's some truth to each of them. So that's why I think it's Ekberg that always preaches, Dr. Ekberg that always preaches that kind of try it first. Like don't talk down or something without having, like, you have tried it first. Let's see if it works for you. If it doesn't, switch back to what you feel works for you. So for example, just like me, I think we're talking about something recently about, what was it about? Maybe it was about like protein or something. And I said that, to be honest, protein does not fill me. I can eat 20 eggs and I'll still be hungry because I'm not full. But somebody else can eat that amount of eggs and feel full. So I feel like I need another source of I need another source, especially fat. So that's why I just go to fat, or sometimes go to carbs to be able to compensate for that in what's the English? The fact that protein does not give me that much satiation.
What if you had an unlimited amount of, let's say, beef? Would you need the carbs to still have?
Beef has fat now.
Yeah, that's just my point. Like, the reason why we are going to put carbs, just for the record, is it's cheaper. It's a cheaper option, yeah.
And also it's more it just does something to your brain. Yeah, exactly.
We're born into it. So
yes, I think so. It does something to your brain. I think it's more emotional than it is actually helping your body. So it's just something like, it's just like a comfort food. So for example, like popcorn, like I take popcorn. Like of the type of popcorn is not the one, not in seed oil, but I still take popcorn anyway. And it's not because I'm trying to derive nutrition from it. It's just because for me, it's just emotional thing. I'm trying to rest. I don't need something to throw inside my mouth. So that's what carbs are for me. So, but when I take proteins, I take fats like avocados and eggs and everything, I know that this is nourishing my body. So it's more of nourishment. It might not have now I found it very flavorful. Like I was telling someone that I actually enjoy eating eggs. Like it's very nice for me to eat it. I find it delicious. But that's not it took a while for me to get here. But it's primarily for nutrition and not I'm trying to derive like some sort of emotional something from the food.
So let's back up a bit. Looking at the whole concept of the food, again, let's go from studies that we've heard. And sometimes when I speak to students who are in biological sciences, guys like, are you also doing biology? Because we're just talking about response of food. And it's funny that when I spoke to someone, the person said, oh, you would your body will always produce insulin. Like the person never this person is in the medical field. Person never, like, it's never crossed their mind that you can eat without your insulin having a spike. That was the first time person was like, "Oh, really?" And I was like, "Oh." So
Yeah, so let me. I think I actually like the subject of insulin, because the whole insulin spike thing.
yeah, sorry to just button. That insulin is the major thing. Like, if there was anything you could do to stop insulin,
Yeah, no, I feel like it plays a factor, yes, but it's not like the main thing, and I will tell you why. So insulin is a hormone that is produced. The whole idea of the insulin is that it's trying to remove the sugar in your in your blood, so that it's like you don't have, so that your blood doesn't have like high amount of sugar, because your body cannot really handle it. So that's what it does. And over time, when you eat lots of carbs and carbs and carbs and carbs, and you're just spiking, eventually your body will develop insulin resistance, which leads to PCOS. Like I mentioned earlier, like I was. Yeah, PCOS is one. So, but because that was affected me, that's why that topic is dear to my heart. So
slowly. So insulin, again, for our audience, first of all, is your body's response, coping mechanism to not having sugar in the blood. Because if you have any trace of sugar, that's what we call diabetes. People die of it. So your body is fighting back sugar from entering the blood. Now let's not use sugar. Let's use the end point of carbohydrates, because exactly. So any carbohydrates, exactly. So I just want to make that clear. So it's not just sugar. I think that's what people don't get. That is
yeah. So like anytime I tell someone like I'm avoiding sugar, I'm avoiding, like, they don't notice that I'm saying I'm avoiding sugar, but I also don't eat the carbs as well.
And when we eat carbs, we're already like, I'm sorry, buddy, but I've been eating.
I think we have gotten to a point. So like sometimes where I may not be concerned with for some people, and for some people I will be concerned, because like for me, that I've already had like the whole side effect of insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is just the fact that your body has the spike. It has helped you, and then eventually the blood.
Explain it. That insulin resistance, so people will know. Go on.
Okay. So we explained how the body responds to carbohydrates, or responds to sugar. So we are not trying to demonize carbohydrates here, but we're just trying to explain what happens. So you eat carbohydrates, so your body is trying to not let it go straight into your bloodstream. So it gives the insulin hormone to reduce the blood sugar spike. So now when your body has done that over time, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, that has been helping you, at some point the body is just like, okay, you're giving me carbohydrates, I don't have the strength to be giving you insulin. Like your insulin is just, so that your blood sugar is just there. So it's, if you look at the charts, you can go online and check. So usually, like, when
device, if you are doubting it.
yeah, so you can eat, if you eat carbohydrates, it spikes up and then it comes crashing down. So why it comes crashing down? Because your insulin is trying to work on reducing that spike. But once there's no insulin, it just stays there and stays high for a long period of time. So that's when all this
dizzy, brain fog, all of those things.
So that's when your body has tried for you, like you say, okay, you don't overdo, you have done too much, and it's not helping you to actually bring that blood sugar down at the appropriate time. So and that's where the whole insulin resistance thing comes to play, and then lots of issues will happen, hormonal issues. Your body is just reacting to every little thing, because it's like there's no, so insulin is not bad in itself. Is doing its work to bring down that spike, but once you have overdone things, so that's why when they tell you like don't eat sugars, it's not because you're trying to necessarily leave the whole we're just trying to make sure that your body does not keep overworking itself trying to spike things. So even though, yes, that's
is the spike as much as possible.
You're helping your hormones, you're helping your body system, so that you don't stress it to the point where it just keeps spiking out of control, and then there's no mechanism to actually bring it down.
Okay, and I think again that's why. So when you combine foods also, it also helps to, so it is like your stomach has a wall. When you eat they call it empty carbs, or I've forgotten, there's a word. Simple carbs, thank you. When you eat it, it escapes your stomach straight into your bloodstream. In short, I'm not sure many people know, including people who are even studying medicine. I'm not sure many of them know that before you urinate, whatever fluid gets to your urinal tract has passed through your blood. So it's like your kidney is filtering it for you to urinate. So it means that most of anything that goes through your mouth.
Yeah, I think if simple biology taught us, like, in that digestion starts from the mouth, yes. Especially carbs, like carbohydrates, simple carbs digest from the mouth. So by the time it's already getting into your, like, it's just going as plain sugar. So like it's from your mouth, it's just going to sugar. So while like protein and fats, they don't digest in your mouth, it has to go into your your stomach to actually do the digestion process. So that's why we don't have that boom boom, that spike as much as like compared to carbohydrates. But I don't think so. Sorry for for buttoning, but I think the whole this like episode is more of like diet versus. Not versus, but like talking holistically, not really.
What I'm narrowing down is if we don't give some of these basics, it's going to be hard for us to get to food versus the environment.
Okay, so we're trying to examine how much food plays, or what food actually does to someone.
In that sense. So, but just to leave to move real fast out of that, the point is that whatever you eat, it goes and then it gets into your blood. But my point is, why the old men, like the way people made food was to, okay, when you have rice, now I don't know, maybe they knew or they did not know our ancient fathers. That's why they had things like stew, they had meat. So usually rice was meant to be luxury, and not that when today you just eat the meat itself. I used to crack a joke. If you cut some meat out of cow, the cow will not die. But I think there was this guy, one of our lecturers then, that was like, oh, we are eating wrongly in Nigeria, that we should eat more meat and less. And far back as when we were on campus, we were like, what was this man saying? And stuff like that. So the whole concept of food eventually is to fuel your body, and to give you as much nutrients as you need. So that was the eye opener for me. Now, the moment you now begin to look at, let's go to the next one. So how do we now get crazy about what we are eating? We started to look at labels. We started to critique. Okay, what am I even taking in? What is the content?
Exactly. So yeah. So just like what you said, that our why we eat primarily as humans should be like its benefit to our bodies, like fueling your body, providing nutrients. I think maybe we did home economics. What did they call it? Change biology or something. Integrated science. That's no. I'm talking about like secondary school. Yeah. So like talking about like what food should do to your body. It should like satisfy your body. It should provide nutrients. It should like support your immune system and things like that. But like, we just lost the plot at some point, that it's just about what I just feel like eating. It's not really about nutrients anymore. And then if someone tells you that this is not nutritious, you take the person as an enemy. So yeah, so so primarily food should fuel your body and provide nutrition to your body. So when we started talking, especially like when I found out the correlation between like PCOS and insulin resistance, then I started becoming more conscious about like what I'm putting into my body. That I'm not just eating for the sake of eating, but I'm actually eating things that will help my body and help repair, since my body was I would say broken down, because there was something that was wrong, and I'm trying to fix it. So I was more conscious of the fact that, okay, I'm not just eating for the sake of eating, but I'm actually eating to correct things that were wrong, and also to ensure that this wrong thing is not going to come back. So that's why we started reading labels and looking at the ingredients. And then once I would challenge you with that, once you start doing things like that, you notice the amount of rubbish you actually pack into your body.
And this is why I wanted us to really have this conversation before speaking about it somewhere else. So I can always refer them that just if it's sounding too long, they should just come to this video and see where our head is at. Because the whole idea was, what as we used to say, what's the whole aim of something? If I'm eating, when you are in a gathering and people are drinking soda, in that sense, again, I'm not, so that they don't flag me. I've not said anything against soda, but they are drinking it. Then they tell you, you are not enjoying. Then I look at it that in the real sense, by drinking it, my body is also not enjoying. The only part that's enjoying in my body is just my mouth. Many of the things you have in the soda, it's like they remove them, then added them back. They tell you vitamins and all of those things. And, so how did we get to this stage in that sense? Because it's cost us a lot. We went through a lot of different things from oats. When we were even taking oats, that oats was now our major food. They said oats helps your body, it does that. We didn't even, I don't know how we forgot that oats would also spike our insulin.
So I think for the time, at least for me, when I was taking oats, is a simple carb, yes, but there were other things to it. I think it was even when recently that I was like, I feel like I should even kind of go back to oats, because it helped me to eat things like chia seeds and flax seeds and pumpkin seeds and things like that, which I don't now, because I have like a whole jar of chia seeds now. I have a whole thing of sesame seeds that don't have a lot of seeds which contain iron that I'm not even eating because I'm not taking what's it called now? Oats. So since I stopped oats, I stopped everything that came with it. It was just recently I was like, let me just put this chia seed in something, maybe in a tea or something. I'm like, this needs, because I spent a lot of money on it. So, but yeah, so
get the iron from other sources.